The last time I had put any thought into Pokemon X and Y was at least 5 years now. And now, with the new announcement of Pokemon Z to A, I can't stop thinking about it. So it got me thinking, what if I did a hardcore Nuzlocke? So I challenged myself to one of the hardest challenges I've ever done here on the channel. Now explaining the rules takes me forever, so I'm going to let Jaden Animations from 3 years ago explain it.
Within the Pokemon community, there's a set of self-imposed rules you can add to the games to make them more challenging, called a Pokemon Nuzlocke. You can only catch the first Pokemon you run into per route. If a Pokemon faints, it dies, and you can't use it anymore. And you have to nickname your Pokemon to get more attached to them. That means if you aren't careful, you can technically lose a Pokemon game under those conditions.
Thanks, Jaden. On top of those standard Nuzlocke rules, I've spiced things up a bit with a level cap, with no more than 2 levels over the gym leader's ace. The battle style must be set to set, and no potions or revives during any battles, or any items like those, because I enjoy suffering. Oh, and apparently I'm supposed to, ask for you to subscribe and like the video, so can you smash that like button? I don't know what I'm doing, man. I don't even know how to do YouTube. Alright, let's get right into the chaos. My journey starts with my trainer name, Crims. I don't get to choose my rival name in this game, which is kind of lame, but whatever. We wake up thanks to this bird Pokemon, which is apparently a pet of ours. Our mom reminds me that today is my big day. I am finally becoming a Pokemon trainer. So I dip out of my house, and I'm introduced to these 2 girls who will act as my rivals. Now, I don't really remember their names, and I really don't care, but they try to tell me what to do, and I'm like, I'm going to just do my own thing. 5 minutes later, I'm ready to bolt because hanging around here is just getting boring. We meet these 2 guys who want to give me a nickname, and I'm like, why let me pick a name if you're just going to do this? So I chose the same name because having a nickname is just stupid in this game. They gush on how wonderful my name is. Thanks for nothing. Now it's time to pick our starter. We have 3 choices: Clauncher, Garchomp, and Blitzel. I chose the obvious choice, Garchomp, as its typing is amazing and its design is amazing. I'm also obsessed with the dragon type, which really helps. Surprise to me, which I don't know how I didn't realize when I was picking them, but it's a Mega Garchomp. Sure, it's slower, but it hits like a truck, and I'm cool with that. I named my starter Danny after the YouTube video I made about him, and if you want to watch it after this. With our honey gathering Garchomp, we set off to conquer the world. Early on, we snagged a Dragonite on Route 1. Another pseudo-legendary? Yes please. I named him Sleepy, and just like that, we had 2 pseudo-legendaries, both with neutral natures. Sleepy had Zoroark's illusion ability, which is super handy if we're playing competitive, but we're not, but it's still cool. In Santaloon Forest, we added Shieldon to our squad. Things are going great, but I realized I might be too good for my first hardcore Nuzlocke. On Route 3, we caught a Nidoran male, but nothing exciting really happened. Then I accidentally killed my Route 22 encounter, which wasn't really a great idea, and I killed my Nidoran male. Nice job, me. But honestly, it's no big deal. Nidorano isn't really that great without an evolution stone. Entering the first gym, I expected bug-type Pokemon, but nope, the randomizer had other plans. Welcome to the Dragon Gym. The first gym are Dragon types, which is just amazing. I totally have a lot of solutions. With very limited solutions, this won't be challenging at all. My options were Shieldon and my 2 Dragon types, and of course, they had Dragon Rage. Now let me explain the Dragon Rage clause. The Dragon Rage clause pretty much means if a Pokemon has 40 HP or less and can get one-shot by Dragon Rage, they are not considered dead. This is to prevent people from getting soft-locked or hard-locked. Playing it safe, I heavily leaned on Dragonite and Garchomp to scrape through this gym. As we continued on, we caught a Sneasel and full Bebe, and with these additions, our team was shaping up quite nicely. Knowing that the absurdly long gap between the first and second gyms, we geared up for a marathon. We caught a corefish and I thought it would be fun to use, but it turned out to be a dud. We then encountered a Snorlax blocking the road. After snagging the Pokeflute to wake it, our first static encounter was Kangaskhan. Despite loving Kangaskhan, I really didn't add it to the team because it had the Unburden ability, which in competitive is amazing, but for my needs, it's kind of lame. Oh, I did forget to mention that while we were on Route 6 on our way to the mansion, I caught a Scrafty, which I honestly love. Now, I mainly love Scrafty because he was the first Pokemon that was on my main roster for my first Black and White playthrough. He was on my team for such a major chunk of the game. After not seeing him for so long, I had to name him OG and quickly added him to the team. On we went, catching more Pokemon that didn't make the cut, and I'm not even going to mention them because they were that useless. In Glittering Cave, we found a Charizard. To me, an extraordinarily overrated Pokemon, but it was still a strong choice. So we added him to the team, and with a decent ability and nature, Charizard was a valued member. I do want to add that I'm referring to the Pokemon as their Pokemon names and not their nicknames, just to make things a little bit easier when I'm reading the script. The cave itself was pretty uneventful aside from some Team Flare grunts. We got the Sail Fossil and learned that we could encounter a Kyogre here, so that would have been perfect for the team, but oh well, we can't win them all. Once we escaped the chore that we call Glistening Cave, we were given the opportunity to convert our two fossils, the Sail Fossil and Draw Fossil, into Pokemon. I honestly don't remember picking up the Draw Fossil, but whatever. They are both let down since they ended up being a Luvdisc and Baneri respectively. I entered the Rock Gym and went into battle with Grant, and as I entered the battle with Grant, I knew the gym was going to be a dark gym, as his previous gym trainers used dark types as well. This was the perfect gym for Scrafty, and we swept the first Pokemon, but I found myself struggling on low health. As he threw in a Hydreigon, I panicked. The one thing you never want to do on a Nuzlocke. So, my genius self decided to throw in Sleepy. So, you decide to throw in a Dragon type with another Dragon type, knowing that you have a Fairy on your team. Great job, Joe. It's not like you can use a Dragon move and die. Sleepy gets RKO'd, and it's devastating. Sleepy, I am so sorry that you had to go out like this, but your death won't be in vain. We threw in Floette, and who evolved from Flabebe, and won the battle. We won the battle, but at what cost? Sleepy, you will be missed. As I left probably the dumbest town in this region, I left with only 5 team members, and I was ready to go on an adventure. On Route 10, I had the opportunity to get an Amoris, whatever the hell it's called, but instead, I got the Kangaskhanite, and I was extremely happy on finding it because it made the decision of adding Kangaskhan to the team so easy. After trying to avoid almost every trainer to avoid being overleveled, we made it to Geosunge Town, and after seeing Team Flare, I did some investigating. After finding nothing, we moved to Route 11 and found a Pupitar. When I saw this, I was ecstatic. Pupitar evolves into Tyranitar, who is also a pseudo-legendary Pokemon. And I love the design of this Pokemon, so I had a tough decision to make. I had a serious water weakness and an even more serious fighting weakness, with both Pupitar and Scrafty on the team. So I made the decision to bench OG the Scrafty. It was really tough, but it helped us. He will return if he's needed, but I hope that he will return one day. We brought Pupitar up to par with the rest of the team and moved on to Reflection Cave. And just like the route before, I encountered a new Pokemon. But this time, I had hope of encountering a new Pokemon that would replace Flo, the Flabebe. Floette, whatever it's named. This was because Flo was practically useless since, as a middle stage, it had a base stat of 304. A first stage starter Pokemon has a higher base stat than Flo. And the only way to evolve him was through an evolutionary stone. So I couldn't use him anymore. He was practically useless. So, I entered the cave and hoped. As we encountered our first Pokemon, it was a Bayleaf, known to be the least popular grass starter Pokemon ever. But I was ecstatic over it, and instantly added Bayleaf to the team. While we were in the cave, we managed to kill Giratina, which is shocking, and now we can say that with just 2 gym badges, we killed the Pokemon to death. After that, we just steamrolled through the cave and mostly ignored most of the trainers, as there's an unnecessary amount of trainers in this game. As we made it to the town of the 3rd gym leader, I was excited. I entered this weird looking tower and had been thrown into a rival battle, and I said, "Oh god, I'm not prepared." After struggling with the rival battle and almost losing a team member, we made it out in one piece. I then found my way to the 3rd gym, and I don't know how this happened, but the gym randomized to a fighting gym. So, Pupitar, you're not going in here. We mainly used Charizard to beat the gym with relative ease, and I didn't really think because I just used flying type moves consistently. After that, we were deemed worthy enough to be given a Mega. Now, at this point, you're usually given Mega Lucario, but instead of getting a Mega Lucario, we got a Mega Aggron, which is alright, but I'm already running a Pokemon I prefer to Mega on my team, so I mainly just ignored it and threw it in the box. But still, most of my encounters so far have either been really good and I've caught them, or really mid and I've killed them. As I explored Route 13, I got a ton of nostalgia. I remember this being one of the hardest routes for me when I was a kid because I was too stupid to find this key card. Now, when I find the power plant and its key card, I was suddenly attacked by Team Flare. This really pissed me off. So I made the decision to ruin their day. After killing one of their bosses with their only a legendary team, I was ready to go beat up the next gym. So I did exactly that. I destroyed the 5th gym leader, again, barely even trying, and moved to Route 14. There, I caught a Substrika and became our new member. I also threw away 1k hoping it would give me a new encounter, but I got nothing. I also challenged a gym and my only problem was the stupid puzzle. And after wiping the floor with the gym leader, I ended up finding my way to the Pokeball factory since Team Flare is messing around over there and apparently it's the right thing to do. The issue at the Pokeball factory was easy when it comes to battling, and the only thing I kind of struggled with was the puzzle, and that's not even because the puzzle was hard. I thought this was going to be a cakewalk, and I then did something extraordinarily stupid. I got cocky. Since I had such a powerful team, I thought that I wasn't really going to struggle. I then did the one thing that kind of bummed the run for me for a hot minute. I lost Crollo. As little as I had him, he was one of the most important members of my team. Saying he was one of the most important maybe is an exaggeration. For the second time in this entire run, it hurt when I've lost a team member. In return for a death on our team, the game gifted us a Master Ball. We moved on and killed our Route 15 encounter at Fortress, which I really didn't care again, and we did our favorite pastime, beating up Team Flare in the Ice Cave. This really didn't take too long, and it was getting more annoying than it was difficult. The more we ran into them, the easier they got. It also sucked that we kept getting bad encounters, but I ignored it mostly. As we moved on, the universe decided to give us a new friend to take place for Crollo. It gave us a Quilava, which we named Blaze and instantly added to the team. Now, Blaze was added to the team and I had a feeling that something was off. Now we needed someone, but I was clueless on who we needed. But I was clueless of what was missing. As I entered the 7th gym, it was scary. We were dealing with a Mega Lucario, and I thought this gym was going to be a real struggle. But besides the Mega Lucario, this gym was also easy. The more we play through the run, the easier it's getting. Maybe because I'm just getting used to Nuzlocking, or maybe because the Pokemon on my team are just getting better. But it's a very weird feeling, and it's getting weirdly easy. As soon as we get out of the gym, we need to find Lysander. So I go to where I last saw him, and that's his cafe. I think, oh well, there's 2 NPCs here, maybe they know something. And I got attacked. Now I'm pissed. I got attacked without being provoked, and again, I wanted to ruin their time. Not because it's the right thing to do, but because they pissed me off. We found Lysander, and again, I was attacked, but this time it was by him. I've made a decision that since he decided to attack me while we were having such a mild conversation, to destroy his team and to completely wipe the floor with him. I did get annoyed with the puzzle, and I mainly used the grunts to level up my team since I was really underleveled. Towards the bottom level, we met AZ, and we learned on how AZ was once the most powerful king in Kalos, who created a devastating weapon to end a war. But it cost him his beloved Floette, a friendship that can never be replaced. He even brought her back to life, but despite bringing her back, he used the legendary Pokemon's energy. He was now cursed with an eternal life. Maybe by finding this legendary Pokemon, I can help him find some closure and even help him forgive himself after 1,000 years of grief and regret. This is known as one of the saddest stories in Pokemon, and to be honest, it almost brought me to a tear. After hearing the story, I was determined to stop all the destruction. This was no longer a battle on me being pissed off at the Team Flare grunts for attacking me. This was all about redemption. I followed Lysander to the 3rd level, and found him with a scientist. As Lysander fled, the scientist challenged me to a battle. And he's just so happened to have the Pokemon that towed continents across the world, and that even created 5 other Pokemon, all named Regis. This battle confirmed one thing, that Mega Kangaskhan is stronger than Regigigas without Slow Start. We were then given an annoying choice between a red and blue button. So I chose blue because the color of my lights for this video were blue. We then move on to Geocench Town and swept the grunts that were trying to stop me. And as we were beating up grunts, one of the weakest grunts that I found ended up having Arceus, the Pokemon god. The god that created the Pokemon world. I blew through the rest of the trainers and got our chance of getting a legendary Pokemon. Because knowing our luck, we wouldn't get one as a random encounter. We managed to get an extraordinarily lucky catch. We got a Mega Latios, which is amazing because if we add him to the team, we would have 3 Megas, 2 Pseudo Legendaries, 2 Starters, and 2 Dragon Pokemon. We said, let's try it in Ultra Ball, and it didn't work, so we just said screw it and used a Master Ball. We did have an extra one. Thinking about it, why am I saying we? It's not like I've been playing with anyone. We swept Lysander at his full strength, and it was like nothing. I sprinted my way to the next town and decided to beat up our professor. We went on to Route 19 and encountered a Miss Magius, which now I haven't mentioned the Dupes Clause prior because I really haven't had to deal with it in this video. But if I've caught a Pokemon in the same evolutionary line or the same Pokemon before, I can enact the Dupes Clause, allowing me to get a re-encounter. This is pretty standard in a Pokemon Nuzlocke. We re-encountered and found a horde of Blastoise. Now, if you know me personally, Squirtle, the pre-form of Blastoise, is one of my favorite starter Pokemons. No, it is my favorite starter Pokemon. So I made a quick decision and caught him. Blaze, thank you, but I need rooms for Blastoise. I spent the next 45 minutes trying to level up Blastoise, and I really couldn't keep up with how much he needed, so I said whatever. I see this bridge and I say, there's probably going to be a tough battle here. I was wrong. I had 3 tough back-to-back battles. Now, one of the battles was tough, not because they had strong Pokemon, but because they just were so annoying that I had to stall them out. It was just annoying. But then I made it to the town of the 8th gym and I said, I need a 6th Pokemon that's up to par with the team. So I threw him in the daycare and ran around literally the entire game. I gathered every item that was blocked through HMs, and after all that hard work and walking as much as possible, we managed to find a lost hotel, which confused me, and I didn't really fully explore it. It also doesn't help that this game kind of randomized Rock Smash, so I can't get any more. After walking around, I kid you not, the entire region, I got a whopping 3 levels. Someone say, hey, go south to find the gym leader. I head south, found the gym leaders with ease, and I just decided to use rare candies as I needed a new member of the team that was up to par. We leveled him up, and again, I thought the gym was going to be a challenge. I've been seeing a weird occurrence. We thought it would be a challenge, but then once we get through the puzzle, the battle is extraordinarily easy. I sprinted through Victory Road, underleveled, and not really focusing, and I made it to the Elite Four. And for a moment, I forgot that I did randomize the game. So I led with type advantages. Like with the Blazing Chamber, I led with Donnie, the Blastoise, or led Kanto, the Charizard, for the Ironworks one. But one thing began to confuse me. The game randomized the type for half of the Elite Four. It just confused me more than anything. I thought, I overprepared. I unmuted and fought the final member, the champion. Now, I took this very seriously, but it was very, very easy. And that was it. And I'm just bewildered. Maybe bewildered is the right word. I remember Diantha being really challenging. And if she... What? What? She has a roll. If her entire team are just first forms, then we don't even need really a mega. We could have wiped this entire Elite Four with just our Garchomp. What? The first gym was harder. The first gym was harder. Do I even need to play the video game? Unless I didn't set it for that. At this stage, we'll have fully evolved Pokemon. Okay, now we have a fully evolved Pokemon. It's a Vileplume, Grass, and Poison. I'm gonna switch into Kanto. Kanto's a Fire Flying type. The Flying type counters Grass, Fire type counters Grass. We'll do those with action. We're guaranteed outspeed. We're gonna get Petal Dance, which we're gonna do very little bit. But he's now locked in a Petal Dance. We're gonna go for a Flamethrower. Lock it's in a Flamethrower, but our special attacker is the strongest move. Let's see how it goes. In one shot, I'm not surprised. Rotom, he's running a Rotom Mo, which Flamethrower will still be good if you're running Wing Attack. It wouldn't be as good because Rotom Mo is both a Grass and Electric type, and Fire is just gonna be good. Uxie's, I don't know if Uxie's is a straight Psychic type, but it can be scary. We're gonna switch into Brimstone, somebody who I named after my main in Valorant. Amnesia, so you're lowering you're raising your special defense. I hate this game so much. I'm also playing with my left, just my left hand. That did decent damage, but Crunch is will kill. Like, what is this Elite Four? Like, I super prepped for this. This is disappointing. Okay, this guy's kind of scary. Even then, if I switch into Delta, which I'm just no brainer. Delta is built to run only special moves on Psychic, and just be a really fast Psychic type. That's what we're running him as. I could have run Dragon type moves like Dragon's Breath, but I didn't think about putting it on. I know we outspeed. Why are you delaying the inevitable? This better be like a Mewtwo or something with like huge power. Dusclops. I won't lie. We used 3 Pokemon, 4 Pokemon in this Elite Four. We didn't need to bring more than 3. We really didn't. And this is very disappointing. Like, I'm not really even... I've been watching anime on my phone this entire time. Like, during this Elite Four. Proof. Like... Just to show you, I'm halfway through an episode. This was a joke. This was an actual joke. We had beaten the mainline game. Now there is a post game, but I didn't really bother with it. I do have to say that the first gym was definitely the hardest gym out of every single gym. It is not even that we didn't have good Pokemon, but it just felt like these gyms got easier and easier as we moved on. Even the fight with AZ was simple. We beat him up with just one Pokemon. This game could have been a lot harder, and we only had 3 deaths. It also helps that we had a broken team. We did finish with 3 starter Pokemon, 3 legendary Pokemon, 2 pseudo-legendary Pokemon, and 1 legendary Pokemon. Oh, we also ended with 2 dragon types. But it shouldn't have been that easy. It got me thinking, maybe Pokemon X and Y is still too easy even with Nuzlocking. Overall, this was an amazing challenge, and I love how we ended with a spare Master Ball. That's something I'm just going to laugh at until the end of time. Anyways, until the next one. Peace.